Hi, welcome. What is a constitution? This is what we'll be seeing today. What is a constitution? Constitution. Now, if you're reading the paper regularly, you come across this word often, constitution. And since this series is just to understand our world better, especially if we read a lot of papers and we can get a better sense of what we are reading. I'm not going to go too much into the details, but just the basic explanation for beginners. So, what is a constitution? Now, any human being, right? And since I'm bad at drawing, I'm going to just signify this as a human being, right? So, we're all human beings and we are not going to live alone. We are always going to live in a group with other human beings, whether it's in your house, whether it's in the society, whether it's in your office, unless you're out in the forest and you're just wanting to be a saint. But at some point in your life, you have to go and mingle with them. And when you're going and mingling with them, a lot of complications arise, right? Now, let's say this is a group of boys who are there for a sports event, right? So, a group of boys all belonging to the same age group, and these boys are interacting with each other, and suddenly one boy hits another boy, right? There's a clash. Now, all of them are of the same age group. All of them have come here for the same event. So who's going to resolve this clash, right? We need someone who's an authority, right? We need an authority to resolve problems that occurs in a group, right? Now, this authority, since this is a group of boys, can be a teacher. But imagine the same group is the society where we live in, right? And a society has not just boys, it has people of different age groups, different religions, different thinking, different occupations, different money levels. So who's going to be the authority in such a group, right? Which is why we have a government. Okay, I'm not going to use that. So we have a government, and the government is in charge of caretaking, right? Of looking over to this group. But this government did not come from outside, right? So this government is not made up of animals or gods or magicians. It's made up of the same people, right? The government too has come from people. So who decides who makes the government, right? Whether it's this boy, whether it's this man, whether it's this woman. So how do we form a government, and who decides the government? For that, we have a set of rules called the Constitution, right? So the Constitution primarily is it's a book, right? It's a document, and this document tells people, instructs government how they should behave, right? So it primarily instructs the government. It decides who forms the government. Great, I can't see that. And then it decides what are the rights of people. Now, what do you mean of rights? Now, suppose this man this man and this woman have indeed, right, they have all formed the government. What about the others, right? They're going on with their life. This guy can be a doctor, this guy can be an engineer, this woman here can be, let's say, a musician. So people are going about their jobs, right? So they work in the morning, they go back home and they study and they play, and they do a lot of things. But there are some things that they cannot do, right? So everyone has rights and everyone has duties and restrictions, right? For example, I can play in the playground, but I cannot just dump a huge pile of litter in the playground, because it's a public place where all the others come. So this is why we have something called rights, what we can do and what we cannot do. We have duties, what we should do, and restrictions, which is what we cannot do. So the government is in charge of taking care of all these things. But what exactly are the rights, what exactly are the duties, and what exactly are the restrictions? This again comes from the Constitution. So the Constitution is a book which once again tells us who forms the government, which of these people can form the government, and how they form the government. Are they elected? Are they chosen by some other means? And who can elect them? And all that stuff. And what are the rights of people? What are the duties of people? And what are the restrictions on the society's behavior? So that is the Constitution. It is basically a book or a document, but it is a very important book, because based on that book the entire country functions, right? And there's one more thing the Constitution can do, that is, it says how the Constitution itself can be changed, right? So it also gives instructions on how to change the Constitution itself. So if the Constitution says, hey, listen, you can dump litter on the playground in the mornings. So someone had written that in a very bad state of mind, and over the years people say, what the hell, I mean, how can I dump litter in the morning? That's it shouldn't be done, it's polluting the whole environment. Then the guy who wrote that law in the Constitution is long dead. So another guy wants to change that law in the Constitution. So can he change it? How can he change it? That is also prescribed in the Constitution. So the Constitution also says how the laws in the Constitution can itself be changed. But usually it's not very easy to change the Constitution, because otherwise this book would not be so important, right? So yeah, I guess you have a good idea of what a constitution means for a country. See you.